So you're thinking about moving to Ohio and you can't decide between Columbus and Cincinnati? Well, today I'm breaking down everything you need to know, from home prices to job markets to schools to just the general vibe between Columbus and Cincinnati, so you can make the best choice for you and your family when it comes to moving to Ohio. If this is your first time on the channel, please like, subscribe, tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about the market here in Columbus, Ohio. And in this video, Columbus and Cincinnati. My name is Billy Fristo, a real estate agent here in the great city of Columbus. And I get calls every day from people just like you looking to make a move. So if you're looking to move in 9 days or 9 months, please reach out, call me, text me, email me, schedule a Zoom call. All my information in the description box below. And I'd love to help you make that smooth transition here to the great state of Ohio. And as always, just call Billy. So hey, let's get into the differences between, the markets here in Columbus and in Cincinnati, Ohio. When it comes to Columbus and Cincinnati, there's a lot of differences, some similarities. Columbus is the state capital of Ohio. The population in Columbus is about 930,000, kind of big, but I think when you add in all of the surrounding suburbs, you're looking into the millions, of people in the Columbus area. I guess Columbus is known for Ohio State football, so Ohio State University. Tech growth is a pretty big factor here in Columbus. It's got a clean layout and that suburban feel, because Columbus is here, it's like a circle. You got 270 all the way around it, and then a lot of the suburbs are scattered all the way around Columbus. So Columbus is pretty central, and then all the suburbs are surrounded on all sides. Basically, that's the layout, the general consensus for Columbus. Let's get into Cincinnati. Population in Cincinnati, proper is, about 310,000. So it's 600,000 people less, in Cincinnati. So it's gonna be a little bit smaller than Columbus. Cincinnati's more known for historic architecture. They have some major corporations there like Procter & Gamble, Kroger, Fifth Third, all, Cincinnati-based companies. It's also known for the hills. It's fairly hilly, riverfront. It's right on the Ohio River, and right across the river is Kentucky. So, close to Kentucky, and, some strong neighborhoods as well. That's a little bit of a breakdown, just, a general breakdown of Cincinnati and Columbus. So let's keep it going. Quick breakdown of the real estate market comparisons between Cincinnati and Columbus. Columbus, the median home price is about $295,000. You have fast growing suburbs, in Columbus, like Dublin, New Albany, Hilliard. You have Dublin and Hilliard are on the northwest corner of Columbus. So you have a lot of growth, outward. There's a bunch of new build communities. Those are, some bigger, growing markets in the Columbus area. Like I said, it's a little more modern. There's a bunch of new builds in a lot of the suburbs. So that's gonna be the breakdown for Columbus. And Cincinnati, median home price is about $265. So about $30,000 less. So not a huge difference. Some great neighborhoods in Cincinnati, and you're gonna see, older homes, with charm, character, often, even more affordable, than what you're gonna see in the Columbus area. Let's look at, a little breakdown of what you can get for, 300,000, 500,000, even $1 million, in the Columbus and Cincinnati markets, and see if there's a big difference or not. Let's check it out. In Columbus, let's start, at 300,000, you're gonna get a 3-bed, 2-bath, house, for 300,000, maybe about 1,800 square feet. You're looking probably built in the 2010s or maybe even a little older than that. And some of the areas that you can do that, Grove City, Canal Winchester, even Hilliard, maybe an HOA, maybe not, but a smaller yard. You're not gonna get like a sprawling, landscape in Columbus for that. So, in Columbus, 300,000, 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,800 square feet. That's just a generalization. It could be smaller, could be bigger, but that's what you're looking at in Columbus. In Cincinnati, you're looking at, similar home, 3-bed, 2-bath, probably with a little more, historic charm and a walkable, neighborhood, maybe older build, maybe 1960s, 1970s build. So it's gonna be a little older house, but maybe with some, more charm, character, not as modern as what you're gonna get in Columbus. And again, these are all generalizations, but just basically kind of giving you an idea of the difference between, Cincinnati, Columbus. Been to both, obviously live in Columbus, but been to Cincinnati. A lot of friends that still live there, so it's fun to visit. Let's jump up to 500,000. So 500,000 in Columbus, you're looking at, you're gonna get a 4-bed, 2.5 bath house, and you're gonna jump in square footage, from maybe 2,000 to 2,700 square feet. And you can get into one of, the top rated schools, Dublin, New Albany, Olentangy School District, which would be Powell. Even Dublin, Hilliard, you're gonna be able to get into those, school districts as well. Open floor plan, 2-car garage, and, maybe even a finished basement, at that price point in Columbus, at 500,000. So you're looking 4-bed, 2.5 bath in the 2,000s, square feet. And again, generalization, but just taking the averages. You're gonna get a great school district as well. In Cincinnati, you're looking at similar house, 4 beds, 3 baths, maybe a renovated historic home in maybe Hyde Park, Oakley, Anderson Township. You're gonna have a larger lot, more mature landscaping. May also include, historic details with modern upgrades. So we're gonna keep this great, this great woodwork in the house, but we're gonna modernize it. So again, Cincinnati, you're gonna get, a nice 4-bed, 3-bath home. Just may not be, as modern as you're gonna get in Columbus. However, you still are nice new builds in Cincinnati as well. So let's go up to, that $1 million price range or thereabout. In Columbus, you're looking at, 4 to 5 beds, maybe 3,500 to 5,000 square feet, maybe a gated community like Tartan Fields up in Dublin, Upper Arlington, New Albany. You're gonna have all the high-end finishes, large lots, finished basement, and you maybe even have golf course access. So, it's gonna be a nice luxury property, for $1 million in Columbus. Same with Cincinnati. You're gonna have the same, type of, luxury house, maybe 4,000 square feet plus, Indian Hill, Mount Lookout, one of those areas. You're gonna have some acreage, some land, private drive, could even have a pool. So you're gonna have, a house that's had, high-end renovations as well. So $1 million should get you all those amenities. That's a lot of money. So like I said, between Cincinnati and, Columbus, what you're gonna get bang for your buck, I guess wise, is gonna be similar. Just maybe a different style, different feel of home. In Columbus, it's gonna be a little more modern, possibly. And in Cincinnati, maybe a little more historic, with modern feels as well. When it comes to jobs and the economy, Columbus and Cincinnati both have, fairly strong, job markets. Columbus is gonna be more of, the booming tech and healthcare, with Intel, Nationwide, Ohio Health. Those are some of the big, employers here in the tech and healthcare sector. Although Ohio State is one of the biggest employers in Columbus as well. With 60,000 students, roughly, give or take. you're going to need a huge staff. So Ohio State is one of the biggest employers around. But with all these options, a lot of newcomers are relocating to Columbus for jobs because the job market is so strong in Columbus. It's a good place for, families to relocate here, for jobs and whatnot. So in Cincinnati, you have a strong corporate presence there as well. You have Procter & Gamble, Kroger, Fifth Third Bank, huge employers, all over the place in, the country and abroad as well. You're gonna have slightly higher unemployment in Cincinnati as opposed to Columbus, but you have a lot of diverse sectors in Cincinnati, with Procter & Gamble, products, Kroger, grocery, Fifth Third, banking. So you have options there as well in Cincinnati, if you need for relocation, for jobs. So the job market is fairly strong in both, cities. Let's move along to schools and education. So in Columbus, since I live here, I know a lot about the school districts here. Olentangy, Dublin, New Albany being top rated A+, school districts. They do a great job. So, and those areas are awesome as well. Cincinnati suburbs, Indian Hill, Madeira, Wyoming. I have friends from high school that actually live in each of those suburbs, and I know, they really love their school districts down in Cincinnati as well. So, I think if you're looking for school districts in Cincinnati or Columbus, reach out, text me, call me, shoot me an email. Let's schedule a Zoom call, get on and kind of discuss, your options, what would work best for you. If I don't know, I can definitely ask and find out with, my connects and friends that I have in Cincinnati. But, if you're looking to move to Columbus, like I said, call me. Love to help you make that smooth transition, but let's keep moving on. So when it comes to, lifestyle vibes between Columbus, Cincinnati, Columbus, you're gonna have a clean suburban feel with the growing downtown. Downtown Columbus is awesome. They got the Arena District. You have the Columbus Blue Jackets that play down there. You have the Columbus Clippers, which is the Cleveland Indians affiliate. You have Lower.com Field, which is where the Columbus Crew play. And they have a huge rivalry with, FC Cincinnati in soccer. So, super, if you're a soccer fan, but so, you can't go wrong in Columbus. And I would also say you can't go wrong in Cincinnati. It's just, what vibe are you looking at? In Cincinnati, you have, it's more historic and artsy, very hilly terrain, and you're gonna have river views. Like I said, Kentucky, bluegrass right across the Ohio River there. So it adds another element of things you can do. I know they have a great aquarium across the river in Kentucky. So, a lot of cool things to do there as well. Great for, people that just want, walkability in their neighborhoods, charm. You're gonna get that in Columbus, but the walkability and charm, it keeps coming back when I mention Cincinnati. So, vibes are good. And downtown Cincinnati, you have the Bengals, NFL, you got the Reds. So, FC Cincinnati, their soccer team. So there's a lot going on, pretty much all year round. So I think the vibes in Cincinnati and Columbus are both, great. It's one of those things, it's all on what you want. And again, I can help you, in either city. So reach out, call me, text me. Love to help you out. But let's keep going. I'm talking about cost of living and property taxes. Columbus overall is gonna have a higher cost of living, but more consistent neighborhoods. Like I said, Columbus is this and everything is around it. Cincinnati's this and everything kind of moves outward, north, northwest, northeast. That's where the consistency, comment that I just made comes in, where what you have, where I concentrate suburbs up here. It's all around. Cincinnati, you're gonna have lower property taxes, in some areas, but, older housing stock, more variety of housing, so to speak. So just two different vibes. Columbus is going to be a little more expensive, but, as always, there's going to be some expensive, parts in every city. So I'm sure Cincinnati's got plenty of them. When you talk, investment, future growth, between the two cities, Columbus has steady appreciation, and, it's kind of just like that because it is one of the biggest growing, markets in the country. So you're consistently going to have growth, year after year, especially with big tech coming in. Intel's building a multi-billion-dollar facility. Google, is making strides in Columbus, as well as Amazon. They are opening, several fulfillment centers, and other companies are opening huge data centers in Columbus too. So that's kind of, you want to invest in Columbus, it might be a good time to do so. Cincinnati, a little bit slower growth, but lots of revitalization, in downtown and some of the historic neighborhoods. So you can't go wrong, there either. So it's just in what you want. Both cities are great. I can speak more for Columbus because I live here, but again, I have friends in Cincinnati that love it. They wouldn't move even if you wanted them to because they're so ingrained. So which one's right for you? I mean, if you want newer neighborhoods, job growth, suburban convenience, maybe Columbus, is what you're looking for. But if you like charm, character, culture, with a lower price tag, Cincinnati might be a spot for you. So it's all in what you want. Hope this helped. So again, if you're thinking about moving to Columbus, or you just want help comparing neighborhoods, again, Billy Fristow, I'm your local real estate agent, and I'd love to help you make that smooth transition here to the great state of Ohio. Or if you're already here, call me. I can help you move suburbs. I can help you move cities. My shoulders are strong. I can move. But I'd love to help you make that smooth transition, to Columbus, or, any suburb or city here in Ohio. So again, drop a comment. If I miss anything or you want to add something, please feel free. And as always, just call Billy. Hope to see you around town.